proudly presents The Sports Couch. The Sports Couch is the area's only locally produced weekly sports show that is live on FM radio and also streamed live on both of our websites at AreaSports.net and WVYN.org. Who will be on the couch this morning? Let's find out. The Sports Couch is on the air right now. Well, good morning again, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Couch here on this 7th day of October. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio. Danny is not with us today. He is still in the field taking care of the harvest season, but hopefully he'll be returning with us again soon. We do not have live video streaming today like we normally do. We were involved in the prayer breakfast this morning over at Mount Vernon. Had a chance to hear Ryan Peach speak over there this morning, which was a great presentation. And so because we were there and we're racing over here to get set up to do the show this morning, we didn't have time to put all of our video components this morning. So I apologize for not having video streaming this morning, but we do have still the live audio streaming this morning on our Vine website at WVYN.org. So those of you who have to break away from the radio and can't listen on the FM dial, you can certainly listen to the stream through our mobile app, the Vine mobile app, or through the Vine website. You can listen live at WVYN.org. Some great coaches on the show with you this morning. We'll be talking with Coach Justin Townsend of the Fairfield Mules in just a moment. Also going to talk to Kerry Martin, the head coach of the Marion Wildcats. They had a wild game last night with the Centroy Orphans. It was one of the highest scoring football games in the region. Also, we're going to be talking to Brett Hefner. He is the head football coach of the Effingham Flaming Hearts. They're having an incredible year. They had another shutout last night as they beat Charleston. And we're also going to be talking to Lynn Braden, the softball coach for the Hamilton County Junior High Foxes. The Lady Foxes made it to the Final Four of the state tournament, the Class L Junior High State Softball Tournament. We'll talk to her and kind of recap the season about the Lady Foxes this morning. And may have a couple of other guests on the show with us this morning as well. You can always, of course, check out all the football scores from around the area last night on our sports website at AreaSports.net. I'll go through some of those with you right now. In the Black Diamond Conference last night, Fairfield made it 7 in a row. They are 7-0, and they've had 6 shutouts. They beat Vienna last night at homecoming at the Train Yard, 46-0. The Mules victorious. Cessa beat Hamilton County in a shootout, 62-34. High-scoring game there. Johnson City shut out Christopher. Ziegler Wells in a 54-0, and Carmi beat Chester 34-7. Today in the Black Diamond, Edwards County travels to El Dorado. Homecoming today at El Dorado. In the Apollo Conference last night, Effingham beat Charleston 28-0. Taylorville over Mattoon 16-6. Muhammad Seymour over Mount Zion 6-0. Little Illini Conference last night, Flora Wolves fell short to the Paris Tigers 35-6. Red Hill beat Casey Westfield 46-12. Alney over Robinson 34-0. Newton beat Marshall 28-8. River Conference action last night, a big game between Anna Jonesboro and DuQuoin, and AJ won it as the Wildcats beat DuQuoin 42-36. It was Nashville over Pinckneyville 34-7. Carterville beat Sparta 68-20. Heron over West Frankfort 52-6. Benton all over Massac County 53-13, and Harrisburg got past Murfreesboro 17-14. In the South 7 Conference last night, that wild one between Marion and Centralia went down to the final seconds. Marion scoring with 18 seconds left on the clock to come from behind and beat the Orphans 49-46. What a wild football game that must have been. Belleville-Altoff over Carbondale 48-21. Cahokia over Mount Vernon 50-0. In the non-conference games last night, Mount Carmel lost to Vincennes Lincoln 56-10, and Breeze Mater Dei got shut out by St. Louis Lutheran North 59-0. There are a few football games to be played today. Lawrenceville travels to Farmer City in a non-conference game, and Edwards County travels to El Dorado, as I said, later today in the Black Diamond Conference. We will come back and talk to Coach Justin Townsend of the Fairfield Mules when we return on the Sports Couch right here. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
105.5 and 90.9 The Vine would like to thank Mount Vernon Wynn Nelson for underwriting support. With a newly remodeled showroom and over 100 years of combined service, Mount Vernon Wynn Nelson is the place for plumbing parts and supplies. They are located at 2230 Benton Road, and their hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Their phone number is 618-244-3100, and you can find them on Facebook. Real Life Radio thanks Mount Vernon Wynn Nelson for underwriting support.
105.5 and 90.9 The Vine is proud to partner with Mount Vernon's newest family eatery, La Fiesta Mexican Restaurant. La Fiesta offers a family-friendly, Christian-owned, alcohol-free environment the whole family will enjoy. Located at 901 Prairie Avenue in Mount Vernon, La Fiesta offers daily specials that are easy on the family wallet. And children 5 and under eat free on Sundays. Their hours are 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. La Fiesta Mexican Restaurant in Mount Vernon, a proud underwriter on Real Life Radio.
And welcome back to the Sports Couch here live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio. And also streaming live with audio on our Vine website at wvyn.org. We do not have live video streaming this morning. And again, apologize for that, but live audio streaming again at wvyn.org. Well, the Fairfield Mules made it 7 in a row last night, and they won their homecoming game, beating Vienna Goreville by a score of 46-0. That defense now has 6 shutouts in the 7 games, which is just absolutely incredible. How often do you see a high school football team shut out their opponents in 6 of the 7 games? That's a rare feat. Let's talk to a very happy coach of the Fairfield Mules, Justin Townsend, right now. Good morning, Justin. How are you today?
Good morning. Doing good, guys.
Great. Good to have you on the show again, and congratulations. Your Mules are rolling. It's, wow, 7-0 and 6 of them shutouts. You've got to be thrilled.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited for the kids. 7-0 is where we hope to be at this point in the season. I did not expect the 6 shutouts up to this point, but obviously that's a great thing. And we know though that we're realistic. We know these next 2 weeks are going to be our toughest opponents. Probably our best offensive teams coming up that we played throughout the season. So our defense will be truly tested these next 2 weeks, and then on into the playoffs, and we'll see what we're truly made of.
Well, last night, again, you stymied the offense of Vienna. They just couldn't get anything done on the ground or in the air, as your defense was always there with the answer. And I think that the Mule players, the defensive guys, really not only have they bought into what you have trained them and taught them to do, but now they've got that appetite to stop the opponent. I mean, they really don't want to give up any points, do they?
No, and it's not like in these games. Last night was one of the first games really that we've been able to play our starters on into the fourth quarter. It's not like we're running our kids out there until the final buzzer sounds. We've had our second team guys in, and they've done a tremendous job. But we returned 8 of 11 starters from defense, from a defense that gave up less than 10 points a game last year. So we knew that we could be pretty good, and kind of what you said. The kids have really bought into what we're doing. So much of it is, one, being in the right spot, lining up in the right spot, but then you got to be able to tackle well. And that's what this group does really well. Going into the game, Vienna has a couple of nice running backs. Danks, I'm sure he's averaging around 100 yards a game. I think we held him to negative yardage. We held them to 1 first down only, and less than 50 yards total offense. So our kids just came ready to play. I'll give Vienna some credit. They did some things, some good things defensively in the first quarter, and kind of stymied us a little bit offensively. It took us a little bit of time to get adjusted, but once we got that going, our kids really took off. And I thought it was important for me. I wanted us to play a clean game, penalty-free, execute, and even though we were up 24-0 at half, I didn't feel like we had done that and addressed that at halftime. I thought we played a much cleaner, much more crisp second half, and I think that's going to bode well for us up here in the next couple of weeks.
Well, this Vienna Goreville team is a team that has scored on everybody that they've played this year, okay? They have not been shut out. So, I mean, they've got an offense that can certainly score, and you hold them, again, to 40 yards rushing 8 yards passing, so 48 total yards, and limit them to 1 first down the entire game. I mean, that is just incredible.
Yeah, like I said, our defense was tremendous, and it's been carrying us all year, and it's going to have to it's going to be what wins us a conference championship. If we are fortunate enough to do it, it will be our defense, and it's going to be our defense that wins us some playoff games if we're able to do that. I mean, that's generally this time of year, if you got a pretty good defensive team, you always feel like you got a shot going into games.
Well, of course, the next opponent is the El Dorado Eagles. You travel down there next week. El Dorado plays this afternoon. I'm assuming you're probably going to be at that game.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely go watch some of it. We do have homecoming festivities going on here, but I'm absolutely going to make the trek south. And they're your typical El Dorado team. They're pretty big and physical, and got a good mix of size and speed. And everybody talks about Traxler, obviously, Division I athlete. Started since he's a freshman. But Atterbury has really developed into a nice player. He's a defensive force, big pass-catching threat. And, they got the Oglesby kid and the Mayberry kid. They got some good athletes down there. A lot of those are basketball kids, three-sport athletes. And they really haven't skipped a beat since Coach Clark took over, which is kind of how I expected things to go for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, El Dorado's always been the kind of team to kind of try to wear you down and beat you in the trenches, and so that's probably where a lot of this game is going to be determined, is winning the battle in the trenches and all of your guys keeping their assignments. Yeah,
and I think, the team that can eliminate the big play and tackles well. I mean, I just think that's, both teams are going to be very well coached. Both teams are going to be prepped and ready and know what each other's going to do. There isn't any surprises, by this point in the season. I'm sure they have all our films, and we have most of theirs. So, I mean, you just by how exchanges go, you see a lot of the teams by this point in the season. So, I do feel like, we're getting healthy at the right time of the season. We got Wyatt Gilbert last night, the sophomore running back. He had set out a few weeks with an ankle. I think he had just over 100 yards rushing for us, so that was definitely a boost. Got our center back also, Kyle Bowers, and then also got Tyler Hooper, who was one of our key guys coming back, was going to be starting fullback for us, and tweaked a high ankle sprain the Thursday before our first game, and we finally got him back some last night. He's not quite 100%, but he gives us some depth that we were hoping to get back for this point in the season. So hopefully things are starting to come together, and we're going to be playing our best football, and which we're going to need to, because we got two very good opponents to close out our season.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Well, I can't let you go without talking about what happened before the football game last night, Coach, and that is all your football team, your players coming out with American flags last night. And in light of what we've seen happening in the nation, and particularly in the NFL, that was a beautiful sight last night, and something that not only the community of Fairfield can be proud of, but I think this whole region can be proud of, because you saw the respect for the flag, for our nation, and for our freedom last night just on display by the Fairfield Mules football team.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I wasn't sure how we were going to come up with 40 flags, but I want to send a special thank you to Gene Kolak. He lives here in the community. His son played for me a few years ago,
mm-hmm.
and he's part of the honor guard. They go around and honor veterans at funerals with the flags. So he had them volunteer. We also had the service branches represented, and it was something that I had mentioned to a few of the seniors, and when I said it, I mean, their eyes lit up, and they're like, "Let's do it." So at that point, you got to find a way out of find a way to get it done.
Yeah.
And so I started making a few calls and communicating with a few people, and it was homecoming. There's a ton of people. I wasn't sure how everything was going to come together, but boy, it was about perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been doing Back the Blue at our games all year, home games,
mm-hmm.
Which we have a representative from the different law enforcement departments, state police, sheriff, and local city at each game. And so we've been recognizing them too, and I just think that's important right now. And as you had mentioned, with everything that's gone on in the United States this past week, and I just thought it was great for our community. And Facebook's been blowing up with videos all day, already about it. So, and I'm just glad that I live in a community where when we want to do something like that, we have people that step up and volunteer their time, and it ended up being a pretty special night.
Absolutely. It was a very special moment. And so, again, we say hats off to Gene Kolak and the others who helped make that possible as well. So, Coach, thanks for your time this morning. Appreciate it. Congratulations again on the win. Keep it rolling. Best of luck next week down at El Dorado, okay?
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, good weekend. Bye-bye. That is Coach Justin Townsend of the Fairfield Mules. What a huge win last night, again, for the Mules, 46-0. They hold Vienna to 48 total yards and just 1 first down. That is absolutely incredible. And the moment before the game with the flags, that was special too. Hey, stick around. We come back. We're going to talk to Kerry Martin. He's the head football coach of the Marion Wildcats. We'll talk about their wild win last night when we come back.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
Heard the old saying, practice makes perfect. Well, there's actually a lot of truth to that, and you can get one-on-one instruction in baseball, softball, basketball, as well as speed and agility drills at the Sports Zone in Fairfield. The Sports Zone has been in business for quite some time now and has helped many area boy and girl athletes excel in their sport of choice. Lessons and practice times are available at convenient times that meet your schedule. The Sports Zone is located on Delaware Street in Fairfield, and we appreciate their support.
We get up early and we put our work gloves on and give a little smile as we slide the barn door open and finish off our coffee. It's tractor time. I just can't imagine life without a compact tractor anymore. Just hearing that Yanmar diesel engine start up make those chores seem a whole lot smaller. Yanmar compact tractors are that part of life that just keeps getting better. Just like wine, except with front wheel assist and power steering. We're Main Street Shop Fairfield. We have Yanmar tractors, lots of them.
Roadhouse Harley-Davidson is putting Mount Vernon, Illinois back on the map. At Roadhouse Harley-Davidson, we look forward to meeting each unique customer and welcome all motorcycle enthusiasts. We have it all, from new and used bike inventory, motor clothes, parts, and a service department that is second to none. Roadhouse Harley-Davidson is the newest full-service Harley-Davidson dealer in the nation, located right off Interstate 57 in Mount Vernon, Illinois, open 7 days a week. Rest your boots and your bike at Roadhouse. Hey, welcome back to the Sports Couch here live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on our Vine website at wvyn.org with live audio streaming. We apologize we don't have the live video streaming this morning, but again, the live audio streaming is up on the Vine website at wvyn.org. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio. And, wow, I'll tell you what, last night, one of the games of the night certainly was that battle in the South 7 Conference between the Marion Wildcats and the Centralia Orphans. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and a really high-octane, high-scoring football game that went down literally to the final seconds. And the Marion Wildcats scored with less than 20 seconds to go to pull it out against Centralia by a score of 49-46. Kerry Martin, head coach of the Marion Wildcats, joins us right now. Good morning, Kerry. You must be out of breath. Congratulations on the win last night. Wow.
Thanks, Randy. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was. Wow is a good word. It was a great game against a great football team, and it was just an exciting to be a part of it. We had homecoming all week long, and the homecoming game we had 4 class reunions there at the stadium last night, and the student section was awesome. And it was just nice to be a part and to get a win with so many people in town from so many classes, and some of the classes were having a reunion that I taught and coached, and that was just a good night. And I love the effort of both teams, and there was no quitting anybody on the field. It was a special game.
Well, I would love to have been there to see it last night, because that just had to be electrifying, the atmosphere with all the people you had there, like you say, because of the class reunions and the homecoming, and then just the battle of these two great football teams. You had the Orphans coming in, having won earlier this year over Belleville-Altoff, and so you knew what they could do. You knew what they were capable of, and boy, it was a back-and-forth battle, wasn't it?
It was. We traded punches the whole night, and, with a game and a team like Centralia with their offense and their quarterback, Javon Williams, we felt like every possession, every call we made was so crucial because we didn't want to give the ball back to them without putting points on the board. It's kind of funny because these two teams that have scored a lot of points this year had, I think, were 0-0 in the first quarter, and in the second quarter was an explosion of points. I forget the numbers exactly, but there was something like 7 touchdowns scored in the second quarter, something crazy. So, we go from a 0-0 to 7 touchdowns scored and back and forth, and the second half was just as exciting. And they scored and took the lead at the 2-minute mark, about 2:08, I think, and we get the ball back and go down and score with 18 seconds to go, and which is almost too much time to lead for Javon, and he gives Centralia a chance there late, but right down to the wire. And as I said, it was they do a great job at Centralia, and just a good battle, and our kids were so resilient, Randy, and that's the thing I love the most is there was no quit no matter what happened. We made some mistakes, we had some bad things happen, and our kids just kept fighting back.
Yeah, you mentioned Javon Williams, and of course he is a top-notch athlete there for the Central Orphans. I think he went over 10,000 yards for his career last night, is what I understand, both on the air and on the ground. And that's an incredible statistic. So he is a one-man wrecking crew. But you know what? You've got a couple of great athletes yourself on the Marion Wildcats. I mean, Lacey and Fletcher are both special players, and you found a way to get it done.
Right, that's right. And finding a way is exactly right. We've had a number of kids, that have led us this year, and David Fletcher, our quarterback, is one, and Jaden Lacey, of course, has just been a 3-year starter for us and just continues to make big plays and find ways to get in the end zone and have an impact. But I love the fact that with those two having, they had big games almost every week, but we had to find some other weapons, and we've had some kids step up. Caden Hilliard and Dylan Cannell and some other kids have stepped up and been counterpunches to those guys, so the teams cannot just take those guys away from us and double cover Jaden. We've had guys step up and become weapons on the other side. So, that kind of team effort is what I love to see, and our defense continues to fight and battle, and we played a tough schedule, and we don't apologize for that. That's the way it is. We played 4 state-ranked teams in the 5A and 4A classes, and our kids have been pretty battle-tested, and I love the fact that they just keep fighting every week. It feels like every week's a playoff-caliber team so far, and our kids just keep fighting and playing hard.
Yeah, for those people who are not aware, your non-conference schedule to start the season, those first 3 games, you took on Mascoutah, Dunlap, and Highland. And, Dunlap and Highland especially are very high-octane teams. And, that's some tough competition because those 2 teams, I think, are both still undefeated.
They are. They're both 7-0, and I'm telling you, they're impressive. And we were in those games, but didn't win those games. And when you keep falling short against good football teams, you start to scratch your head and wonder and second guess. And we played Althoff extremely tough last week and fell short again. We had over 500 total yards, but didn't win the game, which is that doesn't happen very often. But we came back this week against another good team, Centralia, and as I said, just kept pounding away and trading punches, and our kids never gave up. And I think the schedule has benefited us in that way, and that our kids are used to that kind of competition. And so I think it's made us better. I think it's made us better as coaches, but it's still wearing on you. I mean, it's tough on the kids, and we're not done yet. With a rival game next week with Carbondale, and we'll finish with a Mattoon team that we've had a long history of wild games against. So I think we've still got 2 exciting weeks left.
Yeah, and your Marion Wildcats are now 4-3 on the season. We all know that the magic number to get in the playoffs is 5 to qualify as potentially getting in the playoffs. So you got to find a way to get at least one more win, either against Carbondale or Mattoon. But I know you would love to win them both. Well,
it's important that we do. I think we were a 0-3 team to start the season last year. Ended up 5-4, and that 5-4 put us on a bus to Morris. And several hours away, and our kids played well, but it was a long trip. It's a tremendously storied program. So a 6th win might help us get something closer to home. Might give us someone maybe not of a Morris's caliber, but you never know how it plays out. To be honest with you, I just feel better, like you said, getting that 6th win would mean a lot.
Yeah. Well, last night's game was not the only wild win you've had this year. I think in week number 4 you had a wild win over Cahokia, 35-32. Talk about that one.
Well, we were supposed to play on Friday and do a social incident taking place in St. Louis with a verdict coming down. They contacted us about maybe playing a different venue or different times. We chose Saturday afternoon, and so our kids were geared for the game. At about 2:30, we decided we're going to play tomorrow. So that was not an easy thing to have your kids ready and then have to change that. But boy, both teams responded well. We played on a very hot Saturday afternoon, and like last night, it was a ball game that went back and forth, and that game wasn't decided until very late. And as I said, that's kind of been the trademark of our season. We've had those kinds of ball games. Some we've won, some we've lost, but they're exciting for the fans, but they're tough on the old coach.
Oh yeah, I understand. And that was a nail biter last week. You lost narrowly to Belleville-Altough, 32-28, but you almost got that one done.
Yeah, we felt like that all year. We felt like when you look at your seasons as a coach, and you've coached a long time, Randy. You look back and realize that sometimes 4-5 and a 7-2 can be just the difference between 4, 5, or 6 plays for the season. Just a play here or there can change the entire ball game, and you put 2 or 3 of those plays together, and all of a sudden your record can change. And we've had great seasons where we look back and say, man, we were close to not even being a playoff qualifier because of those few plays we made. And we felt like this year we were, just a few plays away from maybe coming into last night's game at 5-1 instead of sitting here at 3-3. But that's the game, and that's the beauty of the game of football is that the way it is, it's truly a game of inches. Truly, a play here or play there can make a difference when you play a good schedule. But our kids have hung in there. We've had a tremendous week of practice, even though we dealt with homecoming week, which is a wonderful week, but it is full of distractions. As coaches have to worry about stuff like that. But proud of the kids. They had a great week of practice, and they've continued to practice better and better, and I think that's part of the reason we're still improving.
Mm-hmm. How'd you come out of the game last night health-wise, Coach?
Well, as far as I know, we're okay. I normally hear from our trainers about anything that's come up to me that I didn't know about, and so far the phone has been pretty silent, and that's a good sign that our kids are hopefully got through a tough and hard battle game and came out healthy, because we're going to need to be healthy here at the end of the season.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the win last night. What a wild one. Huge win over Centralia, improving now to 4-3 on the season for your Marion Wildcats. And best of luck next week as you prepare for Carbondale. And thanks for joining us, okay?
I appreciate it. Always a pleasure, Randy.
All right, Kerry. Take care. Have a good weekend. All righty.
You too.
Bye-bye. That is Kerry Martin, head football coach of the Marion Wildcats. Man, oh man, would I have liked to have seen that football game last night. How about you, huh? 49-46. Marion wins it, and they scored with 18 seconds left to beat the Centralia Orphans. And the crazy thing about it is, as you heard Coach say, it was scoreless after the first quarter. Imagine that. Scoreless after the first quarter, but then after that, between the two of them, they put 95 points on the board. Wow, what a football game. Marion wins it 49-46. Again, also last night in South 7 Conference, Belleville-Altough beat Carbondale 48-21. Cahokia over Mount Vernon 50-0. You can check out all the scores, of course, on our sports website at AreaSports.net. Well, when we come back, we are going to talk to Lynn Braden. She's the head softball coach of the junior high Lady Foxes down in Hamilton County. They finished in the Final Four this year. We'll talk about it coming up next.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
105.5 and 90.9 The Vine is thankful for the ministry partnership with Country Bob's All-Purpose Sauce in Centralia. Country Bob's product line includes the original all-purpose sauce, seasoning salt, barbecue sauce, spicy all-purpose sauce, honey habanero, apple chipotle, and marinara. Country Bob's is located on U.S. Highway 51 south of Centralia and can be reached by calling 800-373-2140.
This is your home for best Christian music.
WVYN, Blueford, Wayne City, Fairfield, Mount Vernon.
And now on Translator, W288CO Centralia, broadcasting at 105.5.
A service of Real Life Radio Foundation.
The best Christian music, 90.9 The Vine.
Hamilton County Flooring on the south side of the square in McLeansboro offers a full line of flooring, cabinets, and countertops for your home or business. Countertops or showers are available in granite, quartz, corian, custom marble, or ceramic tile. Their showroom includes a complete line of flooring available in ceramic tile, cork, bamboo, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and carpeting, including name brands such as Armstrong, Bruce, Marazzi, Mulligan, Shaw, and Tarkett. We thank Hamilton County Flooring in McLeansboro for their support.
Most of us tend to take our printed materials for granted, but it's hard to imagine life today without print. Printing is communicating. Whether it's promotional, operational, or administrative, we're here to meet your printing needs. Peacock Print and Marketing has been serving the people in Southern Illinois since 1977. We're located at 1112 Jordan Street in Mount Vernon. Our phone number is 242-3157. Our website is peacockprinting.com. We believe in honoring God by serving our clients through print and marketing and helping them reach their full potential.
Welcome back to the Sports Couch here live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and also streaming live worldwide on our Vine website at wvyn.org. We do not have live video streaming this morning. Apologize for that. We'll have that back up next week, but we do have the live audio streaming this morning, again, at wvyn.org or through the Vine mobile app if you'd like to listen online that way. But hey, we have going to shift gears a little bit right now, talk junior high girls softball, as the Hamilton County Lady Foxes made it to the Final Four this year in the Class L state tournament. And, of course, we had Coach Lynn Braden on the show with us a few weeks ago heading into that regional championship game, which they went on and won. And then they reached the quarterfinals of the Class L state tournament, where they won their first-round game there against Triad 14-2. Then they lost to Murfreesboro in the semifinals and then headed to the third-place game and had a nail-biter with Highland where they fell a little bit short. But we want to kind of recap the season right now with Lynn Braden, the head coach, and she joins us right now. Good morning, Lynn. How are you?
I'm great, Randy. Thanks for having me this morning.
You bet. It's a pleasure. Good to have you on the Sports Couch. And what a fabulous year for your Lady Foxes. I know you've got to be so proud. And as you take a moment and just reflect back, I'm sure you're just going, wow, what a year.
Yeah, these girls had an amazing season this year. You know, we came out of regular season play with only 2 losses, and both of those losses were by one run each. So those were 2 games that could have went either way for us. And these girls just did a phenomenal job, and I'm super proud of them, and the community is very, very proud of what they've accomplished this year.
You bet. Well, as we talked to you the last time a few weeks ago, that was on the bus, literally. You're on your way to the regional championship game, and it was a game that you won. Talk about that regional championship in that particular game.
Yeah, that game really definitely did not go as planned. It was a very, very close game, a nail-biter game, I guess I should say. We trailed early on in that game. DuQuoin jumped out on us 8-4. We found ourselves down 8-4 in the middle of the second inning there, and Dean led us on the mound that day, and as she had most of the year from the mound, and DuQuoin came out and they were ready for her. Their bats were hot, and I had to make a pitching change in the second inning, and I put another 8th grader, Chloe Braden, on the mound for us, who had only started 1 game all season. Put her in, and between her, she hit her spots, threw a lot of change-ups for us, and solid defense behind her. We were able to hold them until the 7th inning, and because she hadn't pitched much all season for us, so I could see she was getting tired in the 7th. And even though DuQuoin hadn't scored on her, they started the 7th inning with a deep triple to right, and had the tying run sitting on third base. And I went out and talked to my players, and we kind of weighed our options and thought it was best to put Dean back on the mound and see if we couldn't change things up just a little bit, because DuQuoin had seen Chloe since the middle of the second inning there, and I brought Dean back in with a runner on third. Unfortunately, that run did score, but we were able to get 3 outs and a tie ball game going into the bottom of the 7th, and we were able to pull out the win in that game, 10-9. So it was a pretty stressful game, not at all how I saw that game going. but we were fortunate to keep our season going. We definitely didn't want to end a great season with a regional championship loss, and we were able to do it.
Yeah, that's a nail biter. That really is. What a battle that was. And so then you move on to the Class L Junior High State Tournament, and you take on Triad, a team from farther over towards the Metro East area. And boy, your offense comes alive in that quarterfinal matchup, doesn't it?
Boy, it did. Yeah, our offense definitely came alive in that game. We started the first inning we got a couple base hits by Braden and Wellen, and they were sitting on base, and Kaylee Karcher, a 7th grader, gets up for me in the first inning and homers over the center field fence. So we had a 3-run home run, and boy, I just felt like we never looked back from there. She set the tone for us with that home run, and we just kept going. We had 16 hits in that game. Karcher had a home run and a single with 3 RBIs, and then Chloe Braden had 2 singles, a double, and a triple with 5 RBIs that game, along with numerous other hits from our players. I mean, we looked great. 16 hits, and Dean was able to get the win from the mound. She pitched a phenomenal game, and we had great defense behind her. There weren't a lot of strikeouts in that game. It was just a great team effort with good defense and really solid bats that game against a huge school. Triad's a school of 2,500 kids versus our 860. So we were really proud of that win and the way we came out in that Saturday game, and the support from our community that day was just unbelievable.
Yeah,
the little town of Hamilton County.
Well, and that's real important because the girls, they feed off of that energy of the crowd, don't they?
Oh, they do. And I mean, we from the backstop all the way around down the right field fence was just a sea of green. 4 and 5 people deep all the way down. So I mean, our girls definitely came out to play, but the atmosphere was wonderful for them. So our community definitely helped us that day.
Mm-hmm. So then you move on into the semifinals of the Class L state tournament, and your opponent is Murfreesboro. You fell short in that game 16-6. Tell us about that contest.
Well, I have to give a lot of credit to Murfreesboro. I mean, they're a very solid offensive team. Their bats were phenomenal. The first 5 batters in their lineup, I mean, we just didn't have an answer for them. Everything we threw at them, they were able to hit, and they hit hard. I mean, they're a really solid team, and we just didn't have an answer for them. I bounced pitchers back and forth. I went from Dean to Braden, back to Dean, back to Braden again, and just trying to mix things up and change things up. There was only one inning where we were able to hold them without scoring, and that was the 3rd inning when I brought Braden in, and that change of speed that first inning, we were able to hold them without scoring, and then they came back in the 4th and scored a couple on Braden. So I went back to Dean, and they continued to hit her, and then I finished the game with Braden on the mound, and we stayed with them for 4.5 innings, but they just exploded in the 5th inning on us, and we couldn't come back from that. The difference in that game versus Triad was we only had 6 hits in that game, and I'm still scratching my head as to why we didn't hit that game. I mean, the weather conditions were not great that day. We played in the rain. It rained off and on and things like that, but that shouldn't have anything to do with our offense, and we just couldn't get it going. I mean, their pitcher did a great job working on us, and we only had 6 hits, and I mean, Braden led us that day with 2 triples and a double, and she had 4 of her 6 RBIs. So, my point to them was that game is that what we've accomplished all season, we did collaboratively as a team. That you can't win games with just 1 or 2 people, hitting the ball for you. And the reason why we've seen success all year is because all these girls had hit all the way through the lineup. And I went back to preaching how it takes a whole team to win a game. So
yeah, absolutely.
That was definitely the difference in that game.
So then you move on into the 3rd place game, and you have another nail-biter, and this one turns out to be a real pitcher's duel against Highland. You fall short to Highland in that 3rd place game 3-1. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, Highland, that was a close game. I mean, 3-1, and nothing to hang our heads about for sure. Just solid defense, by both teams. We had a couple errors that were probably key in that, when it's a 3-1 game, but overall good defense by both teams, and obviously they struggled hitting Dean. She did a great job, from the mound for us. She's always a great team leader out there on the mound, and she's focused. I mean, and to back up to the Murfreesboro game, Ellie Dean, she's tough mentally. I mean, nothing much rattles her, and I saw her cry after that Murfreesboro game, and you know what she said? It never entered her mind that we would lose that game. She was focused on the championship game and getting there, and she had so much confidence in herself and her team that we were going to get there, that Murfreesboro game was pretty hard on her. But she regrouped. She came back and said, now our focus is on this third-place game, and we're gonna do this. And she came out focused and hit her spots. Her changeup was working well. She threw a drop ball a few times, and she was able to do a really good job against Highland. However, Highland's pitcher, she did a good job against us. She kept it on the inside, kept us crowded, and we were having trouble making the adjustments to get good hits off of her. She had a nice spin on her ball, and when we did put the ball in play, it seemed like we were getting a lot of pop-ups. So I thought we were going to make a comeback in the bottom of the seventh when Karcher and Dean started the bottom of the seventh, each with a hit, and got on base. And, seeing our tying run sit there, I thought, no outs, tying run sitting out there on base. I thought, we're going to do this because we've been a comeback team several times this season, and we just fell short on this one and lost to a good Highland team, 3-1. And I know that the girls were upset with that, but like I told them, it doesn't take anything away from the great season that they've had, even though we ended the season on a loss. We still came back with that fourth-place trophy, and that's the first time that the softball team in Hamilton County has brought back a trophy in Class L. And the last time that a trophy was even brought back to Hamilton County was in 1977 when we were a Class M school. So it's been a 40-year run without a trophy coming back to Hamilton County.
Holy cow. Well, that's something for the girls to certainly be proud of, and I'm sure there's a special place for that fourth-place trophy in that trophy case at Hamilton County. No doubt about that.
Yeah. Yes, we're very proud of it.
Absolutely,
very
and you
proud
should
of
be.
these girls,
And so the final record ended up being, was it 22-4? Is that what you ended up being?
Actually, 23-4. We played a game in between regionals and state. Yep.
Okay.
All right. 23-4 for us.
Unbelievable. That is something to really be proud of. And, it's something that these girls will never forget. This is something that will live with them for the rest of their lives. I mean, seriously, when they become older adults and even have children of their own, they'll still remember the experience that they have gone through with their teammates and with you this year playing softball at Hamilton County.
Absolutely. And, for my returning seventh graders, they already have that drive, that want, to be back here next year and to do better than we did this year. So, I'm losing five of my starters. 5 of my girls were eighth graders this year, and those are going to be big shoes to fill. But these seventh graders, they've got a taste for it. They've been there. They want to do it again. That whole postseason experience is unlike anything else. It was from the pep rallies to the fire trucks bringing them back into town to the community support. These girls, they want it. And not only do they want it in softball, they want it in basketball, they want it in volleyball. So, they've created the atmosphere that, I think that along with a lot of hard work and some talent that's coming through the next few years, Hamilton County's got a bright future in softball, girls softball, and girls sports in general.
Yeah, well, it's been an exciting season, and I'm glad that we were able to have you on this morning to kind of recap things and talk about it, Lynn. And, again, a terrific job by you and your assistants there in coaching the team this year and leading them to this 23-4 mark. What a special year, and thanks for your time this morning today on the Sports Couch.
Yeah, well thanks for having us, Randy. I appreciate you having me on where I can talk about these girls and their season. They've made us all proud.
They certainly have. Okay, well, you have yourself a good weekend, and thanks again, okay?
Okay, thanks,
Randy. Bye-bye. That's Lynn Braden. She is the softball coach for the Hamilton County Junior Lady Foxes, and they finished the season 23-4 in fourth place in the Class L Junior High State Tournament. The first state tournament trophy in softball that has come to Hamilton County in 40 years. Yeah, 1977 was the last time that happened, and that was when they were a Class M school. So what an accomplishment, certainly, by the Hamilton County Junior Lady Foxes, and what a year that they've had. All right, well, when we come back, we're going to get back into a little football discussion here. We're going to talk to Brett Hefner. He is the head football coach of the Effingham Flaming Hearts. They improved to 6-1 on the season last night with their victory. We'll talk to him about that coming up next on the Sports Couch. Stay tuned.
It's the local sports talk show that everyone is talking about. It's the Sports Couch on 90.9 The Vine and AreaSports.net.
ProVision Eye Care would love to help you determine if laser vision correction is right for you. Dr. Stephen Wexler of TLC St. Louis will present a short, free seminar at their office on Monday, October 16th at 5:30 p.m. This is your chance to have all of your LASIK questions answered by a nationally acclaimed surgeon. Don't miss this very special opportunity. Find more information on the ProVision Eye Care Facebook page or call their office at 244-0508. ProVision Eye Care is proud to be a supporter of local Christian radio.
Prominent Technologies in McLeansboro is an underwriting supporter of the Vine. Chad May and Prominent Technologies specialize in computer and laptop repair, IT system upgrades, virus protection software, digital security camera installation, and on-location consulting. Prominent Technologies are computer problem solvers, and they have a long list of satisfied customers. Their phone number is 643-7114, and they are located just north of the square in McLeansboro.
When it comes to custom cabinets and furniture, Barbary Woodworks in Fairfield is the name you need to know for American-made cabinets with American-made products. For the kitchen and bath, they also feature DuPont, Corian, Zodiac, and Granite. Barbary Woodworks also specializes in hardwood flooring, trim doors, and windows. In fact, they have a showroom where you can see it all at 307 Highland Avenue in Fairfield. Or go online and visit their website at barbaryswoodworks.com and visit them on Facebook as well. Welcome back to the Sports Couch here live on a Saturday morning on 105.5 and 90.9 The Vine Radio, and streaming live worldwide on our Vine website with live audio streaming at WVYN.org. I'm sorry we don't have the live video streaming up and running this morning, but we do have the live audio streaming, like I said, on our Vine website at WVYN.org, and also, of course, through our live mobile app as well. I'm Randy Olson, live in studio. And last night in the Apollo Conference, it was Taylorville over Mattoon 16-6. Muhammad Seymour shut out Mount Zion 6-0. And another big win for the Effingham Flaming Hearts last night. The Hearts shut out Charleston by a score of 28-0. They improved to 6-1 on the season. It's also the second shutout this year by the Effingham Hearts. And joining us on the phone again, a guy we had on the phone with us a few weeks ago and happy to talk to again. It's the head coach of the Hearts, and that's Brett Hefner. Hey, Brett, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Great. Good to have you on the Sports Couch, and congratulations on another win. That's 6 in a row for you now. You're 6-1 on the season, and your second shutout. You've got to be really happy with the way the Hearts are playing.
Yeah, we are. We're playing real well, especially defensively. And the other big thing for us is, we talked about last time, is just staying healthy. And anytime after the game the trainer is able to look at me and give me both thumbs up and say, hey, we're all good, then that's an even better night. So, but defensively, playing really, really well, and having Terrence Hill doesn't hurt any.
Absolutely. And, for people who might not be aware of it, let's reflect back. The Hearts have come a long way since a year ago, because last season you were 3-6 on the season, and now here you are sitting at 6-1. What an incredible turnaround.
Well, I appreciate it. It's a true tribute to the kids, and they've done a lot to put themselves in this position. And we talked about last night after the game, that now they're getting to the really fun part. They get a home game next week to win and hopefully win and clinch the conference title outright, continuing to play for a higher seed in Week 10, and hopefully have a chance to string together some playoff wins. So all that hard work and the 5 a.m. wake-ups and the hot summer days and hot August practices over the last 3 years. This is the fun part of the season, and I think our guys are looking forward to that.
Well, I'm sure when you looked at some of the goals at the beginning of the year, I'm sure one of the goals had to be to win the Apollo Conference, and now you've got that in control if you can take care of business next week against Mattoon, as you said. I'm sure another goal was to qualify for the playoffs, which you've already done that. But obviously now you really want to win out so that you can get that higher seed and get a home football playoff game, right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's the first and foremost. Our two goals always are to compete for and win a conference title, and then get in the playoffs and try and get on a run and see what happens. And the great thing about this group and why it's such a fun group to coach is, and I said it last night, they're happy but they're not happy. So they're happy. Okay, we're in. Okay, we've clinched a share, but they're not happy because they want the title outright. And they want a home playoff game, and certainly we're going to have to win out to do that. Our playoff point total is not a real high number, so to guarantee that, you're correct. We do need to win out and probably get to 8-1.
Your opponent next week, the Green Wave of Mattoon, they come into the action with a record of 2-5, but that can sometimes be misleading because it's a big school. They got a lot of students, and they can score some points. I mean, they put 41 points on Charleston earlier this year. They put 34 on Lincoln. They put 21 up against Mahomet Seymour. So they can put the ball in the end zone, can't they?
Yeah, they can. They've got a really talented quarterback, really talented running back, and they returned their entire offensive line from last year. It's a team that we saw them early in the year, and then obviously we've seen them late in the year, and it's night and day. They're vastly different, vastly improved. Just a team that's playing well as they come down the stretch. They lost a tough one last night to Taylorville. And we know how good Taylorville is. So to have that game be the score that it was, they're really playing well, and we'll have our hands full. But it'll be a fun week.
Well, yeah, in that game last night against Taylorville, I mean, they lost 16-6. But if you hold Taylorville to 16 points, you got to be doing something pretty good defensively. You know.
Yeah, they must have. It'd be interesting to. I'm interested to take a look at that one. I know at one point I thought somebody had told me that the score was 2-0, and then it got to 9-6, and it was at 9-6 for quite a while, and I think Taylorville scored late to make it 16-6. So that'd be an interesting one to watch. But they certainly have some playmakers, and Coach Johnson does a great job. I've got a lot of ties to that program. I've got a number of good friends that are on the staff. A couple kids that I coached during my time at Mattoon that are on the staff. So it'll be a fun week.
Well, and the two towns are so close together. I mean, Effingham and Mattoon, I mean, you can throw a rock between the two of them almost, and so the rivalry is there for sure.
Yeah, I think it's one that from the time that they joined in the conference, obviously they've got the natural rivalry with Charleston, but I would say probably Effingham Mattoon is probably next on the list, not only in our sport but in every sport between the two schools. So. I would imagine the weather right now looks like it's going to be a great night, and I would imagine it'll be a big crowd and should be a lot of fun.
Well, the good thing is these final two games that you play, the one against Mattoon next week and then against Salem in Week 9, they're both home games for you, and that's big.
Yeah, it is. Especially, we started our first three straight on the road, three difficult ones on the road, and so to be able to finish with two straight at home, it's certainly something that's much easier to do, especially this time of year. So our guys are looking forward to that as well.
Statistically last night, how did it look? I mean, obviously we know the scoreboard, you shut them out, but statistically, how did it look in terms of what you gave up in terms of total yardage or first downs or things like that from your defense?
Well, it was a pretty impressive effort from our defense. So we held them to 42 yards rushing and 56 yards passing.
Wow.
So under 100 total yards of offense. Ended up with a couple, with 3 interceptions, a couple fumble recoveries. So defensively played well. Offensively, we held the ball for 37 of the 48 minutes. It was such a muddy field, and it's kind of a slow field that it was hard to get real big. Long, explosive runs. Terrence ended up 29 carries for 184 yards. So still a pretty good night for him. I'm sure he's probably not happy. Feels like he left some big runs out on the field. We had a little trouble with a couple holding calls that didn't help any that we've got to get corrected. But yeah, defensively and then time of possession wise. The two big things.
Well, they must have had a lot of rain up there or something if it was a muddy field. Is that what happened earlier in the week?
Well, I tell you what, we were out on our field on Thursday. We got about 2 inches, and ours was a little soft, but not bad. And I think they got double that up in the Mattoon, Charleston, Mahomet up in that area. I think they got well over 3 inches. So it was pretty soft, and then it sprinkled a little bit on and off during the game last night, not enough to affect it. But at that point, it was already pretty wet in between the hashes.
Yeah, wow. Everybody come out of the game healthy last night for the Hearts?
We did. We got out of it healthy, which is a good thing. So We've got film later on this morning. We'll double check them, but as they headed off the buses last night, everybody said they were good. So that's what I'm going to go with. The trainer gave me a thumbs up, so we should be good to go.
Boy, and as a coach, you breathe a sigh of relief when you don't get that phone call this morning from the trainer, don't you?
Yeah, you're right about that. As everybody as they get up to get off the bus and they go grab their bag off the equipment truck, you're always looking. Okay, who's limping? Who's moaning? Who's holding a hand? But our guys seem to come out of it okay, and which like you said is a great thing, and that's the key part this time of year. Everybody talks about being lucky. Well, that's the lucky part. It's not necessarily a bounce of the ball or a fumble or an interception. It's do you have the same guys playing each week? And if you have the same guys playing each week, you're doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, it's a pleasure to have you on the show again. And again, congratulations on the win for your Hearts last night. That's 6 wins in a row, and you're now 6-1 on the season. And best of luck next week as you take on Mattoon. Okay.
Hey, thank you very much. Love being on. Appreciate the opportunity, and hopefully we'll talk to you again here during the postseason.
All right, I hope so. Thank you, Brett. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. That's Brett Hefner. He's the head football coach of the Effingham Flaming Hearts. Great guy and great coach. And what a turnaround for that program. They were 3-6 last year. Now think about that. 3-6 last year. They're already 6-1 now with 2 to play. And they have 2 games sitting there that are winnable games. I'm not going to say they're going to win them, but they should win them, and they're very capable of winning them. So they could go into postseason with a record of 8-1, which should get them a home football playoff game, and that would be huge. That would be huge. What a turnaround to go from 3-6 to hosting your own football playoff game at 8-1. That would be quite a feat, but I think they are on the cusp of doing that if they can get the job done against Mattoon and Salem. So good turnaround there for the Effingham Hearts. All right, well, let's talk a little bit of baseball, all right, as we are in the postseason. Well, we are not, meaning the Cardinals are not, but the Cubs are, and the Cubs won in their first game yesterday against Washington, and they'll play again this afternoon at 4:30, as the Cubs will have Lester on the mound against Gonzalez for Washington. Arizona and the Dodgers will go at it tonight. The Dodgers lead that series 1-0. It'll be Hill on the mound for the Dodgers against Ray for Arizona. Looking at the results from the Major League Baseball playoffs yesterday, Houston won again over Boston by an identical score of 8-2, as Houston leads that series now 2-0. Cleveland won Game 1 over the Yankees 9-8. That game went 13 innings, but the Indians pulled it out. The Cubs won their game over Washington 3-0, and the Dodgers, behind Kershaw, beat Arizona by a score of 9-5. And college football, let's talk a little bit about that, all right, as we got some games coming up today. In the Big Ten today, it'll be Illinois at Iowa. Illinois, of course, is 2-2. Iowa is 3-2. They'll kick off later this morning at 11 o'clock in Iowa. It'll be Penn State against Northwestern. Minnesota is at Purdue. Maryland's at Ohio State. Michigan State Spartans against Michigan. That is probably the marquee game of the day in the Big Ten. That'll be at the Big House in Michigan. Wisconsin is at Nebraska. And Indiana has a non-conference game today at home against Charleston Southern. Some other games of top 25 ranked schools. It'll be number 2 Clemson at home against Wake Forest today. Number 3 Oklahoma is at home against Iowa State. Number 4 Penn State, we mentioned, is at Northwestern. Number 5 Georgia is at Vanderbilt today. Number 22 Auburn is at home against Mississippi. Number 22 Notre Dame goes on the road at North Carolina today. Number 21 Florida is at home against LSU. A game between 2 ranked teams today in the top 25. Number 8 TCU is at home against number 23 ranked West Virginia. TCU is 4-0 on the season. Florida State is at home against number 13 Miami. USC ranked 14th in the country. They're at home against Oregon State. Number 16 Virginia Tech is on the road at Boston College. Number 1 Alabama at 5-0 will go to Texas A&M, who is 4-1. And let's see, number 20 Utah is at home against Stanford. Number 6 Washington is at home against California. And number 19 San Diego State will take their 5-0 record into UNLV. And in the National Hockey League action today, it is a full slate of games, and it'll be the St. Louis Blues at home tonight, taking on the Dallas Stars. The Blues won their opening game, and so they'll go into tonight's action with a record of 1-0. Well, that is going to wrap up today's edition of the Sports Couch. We appreciate everybody listening in and joining us this morning. We'll be back again next Saturday morning at 8:30 for another edition of the Sports Couch right here on 90.9 The Vine and on AreaSports.net. Have a great weekend, everyone. So long.
All your favorite songs by all your favorite